Welcome to Amy Bo's 5th video. I was going to ask you to grab your phone and invite friends to this live stream, but I'm now wondering if we should just keep it our little secret. I'm embarrassed to say that the bugs have not been behaving as I would like. Fortunately, we have an expert in microscopy as a guest today, so together I'm hoping we can all work out what's going wrong. But if it's okay for you, we'll keep the initial competition running for at least one more week. Do let me know in the chat if you're not happy with that, and I'll share more details of the competition at the end of this live stream. But this week, we're going to have a go at looking at the culture through an OpenFlexure microscope. So it's a huge privilege for me to introduce Joe Knapper of the University of Glasgow. Hi Joe, how are you doing?
Hi Martin, all good, been looking forward to this.
Excellent, brilliant. So am I right in saying that you have a PhD in OpenFlexure microscopes?
That's right, yeah. I did 4 years at the University of Bath working on my PhD in automating the imaging of blood samples for malaria diagnosis on the OpenFlexure microscope. We were rolled out in some health clinics for trials in rural Tanzania, and since then I've been lucky enough to join the University of Glasgow, where I'm carrying on that push of using open source OpenFlexure microscopes to bring healthcare to be a more accessible thing for those who need it most.
Brilliant. Yeah, and we met up last week, and you kindly lent me a microscope, since I was never going to be able to build it in time. But all my bits have arrived now. So anyway, yeah, what's the weather like in Glasgow at the moment?
Exactly what everyone promised me it would be.
Yeah, same here. We're just about 40 minutes south of you, and it's probably not much drier. So yeah, if anyone has any questions for Joe or myself, or suggestions, please do pop them in the live chat so we can see them as they arrive. In fact, speaking of see them as they arrive, I need to move this thing up a bit. And oh, thanks Laura for sending out the welcome, that's cool. So yeah, let us know if you're in there, and yeah, if you're watching this not live afterwards, then please, yeah, pop any questions or comments or anything, suggestions into the comments, and we'll respond when we can. Joe, could you keep an eye out on the live chat for me? Can you see it where you are?
Yeah, I've got that, no problem.
Brilliant, cool. As I'll probably get caught up in things and miss it. So anyway, for those of you who do not recognise this mugshot, we've been trying to start a spirulina culture. And I know there are 1001 videos on YouTube about growing spirulina. It's green, it tastes like spirulina, so you probably wouldn't want it as your sole source of protein. In terms of feeding the world, it's nowhere near as sexy as some of the other microbes that Gerrit's been proposing in the forum. But it is, well, it should be easy to grow. I believe it's easy to grow. I was having no bother while I followed the instructions, but anyway, we shouldn't need a degree in microbiology to be able to see if our culture's contaminated. And there is one other reason that I think growing spirulina in a tiny little 20 ml bioreactor makes sense, and that's because spirulina is a cyanobacteria, and that means it produces cyanotoxins, or it can produce cyanotoxins. Cyanotoxins, specifically microcystin LR here, which is a hepatotoxin, they were the inspiration behind my MEng project and my very first bioreactor, which was an enhanced membrane bioreactor. Now, I'd love to show you a picture of that, but somehow I've lost my thesis. Anyway, I imagine that there could be a real risk from cyanotoxins if you were growing your own spirulina incorrectly. So we could use research bioreactors like the bioreactor to assess the conditions that result in cyanotoxin production and determine how we can avoid it. So, 3 weeks ago, Gerrit shared the results of his highly successful control testing with his pair of bioreactors, and then he's since posted an absolutely brilliant write-up of his experiment in our docs. It's amybo.org/docs. Then 2 weeks ago, Cam was kind enough to help me set up my bioreactor, and yeah, it was brilliant. He continued to follow up in the forum and has been answering various questions there. And you are more than welcome to start a discussion in the forum yourself. It's forum.amybo.org. And then last week I failed to install my spectrometer. You might be seeing a bit of a trend here, but anyway, But I then added 100 microliters of spirulina that I'd bought from Dina on Etsy to 10 mil of their culture media. And after that live stream, the culture did not perform exactly as I was expecting. It pretty much dropped to a kind of flat line, sort of noisy flat line. Anyway, I then managed to get the correct length of cable for the spectrometer, and to my delight I found that my dodgy wiring wasn't actually the problem, and Cam quickly fixed an issue with the plugin, and now we're getting spectrometer results which are showing up in our overview page. But I did manage to jolt things when I installed the cable, which I'm almost certain was the cause of this apparent jump in OD. So I'm guessing that the alignment changed so that less light was hitting the OD sensors, hence the optical density appears to have increased when I don't think it actually did in the culture. I also decreased the LEDs from 50% to 5%, and I was hopeful that the culture was starting to grow. It would be brilliant if you could all sort of chip in and let me know what you think is going wrong here, yeah, what I'm doing to these poor bugs. But yeah, I hoped it was going to increase. It looked like it was increasing, but the next day it was clear that it was going nowhere. And given the cold snap that we had here and the lack of heating in the studio, while the bioreactor was managing to keep it still above 30 degrees, it wasn't as close to the 32.5 degree set point than it had been. So I turned the heating on and gave it another 100 microliters of inoculum, which also proceeded to apparently die. And I think the little blip that you're seeing at the end here is when Laura had to move the bioreactor to take this lovely OpenFlexure Microscope photo. Now, let's try and see what's happening right now. In fact, let me just quickly go to this. So this is the bioreactor. It's running. I don't know if you saw that, but there was a flash there as one of the lights. There we go, it's back on again and off. So let me get back now to this. And this is what we're getting live at the moment. So yeah, the reason I've been using little snapshots that I've taken mainly when I was asking Cam what was going wrong and presenting those is that now that I have done this, what I did was basically I took so one of the issues I hadn't realized, that the spectrometer window does need to be immersed if you're going to get accurate results using the LED from the spectrometer. So I bulked up the culture. It needs about 15 mils, we think, to immerse that. So I added 15 mils of extra inoculum. So that was basically 10 mils of the culture media with a few dead or dying spirulina in it, and then 50 mils of culture. And since then, it's been going down with a remarkably straight line, I would say. We could probably get some sort of kinetics out of that, but it's not looking good, shall we say. But speaking of looking good, let's get back Joe, and we're going to try... now, you shouldn't really be doing this, but moving the bioreactor around it isn't a great idea, but until we get a better studio setup, I'm kind of having to do that. So I'll put that out of the way. That reminds me also to put my gloves on. And yeah, Joe, can you give us a quick anecdote while I'm putting my gloves on?
Well, Vincent's joined us in the chat saying that science isn't easy, nothing new and exciting is, and it looks like you're learning lots. So you can take that as much of a compliment as you want.
Yeah, I hope that everyone learns from my many, many mistakes, and if they are, then I guess the more mistakes I make, the better. So here we have... Sorry, I got the power cable. Right. OpenFlexure Microscope. So what I'm going to do, actually having moved the bioreactor out of the way, I'm now going to bring it slightly back here. I'm just going to probably forget about any kind of aseptic technique here, because I think it's it's not doing so well anyway. And I'm going to take some of this. Yeah. Right, I have some. I'll pop that back. Put that out of harm's way. And so I've got a microscope slide here. I just managed to drop totally not in the middle of it. Twice. I'm thinking though I'm going to put that down there since it's full of culture. I'm then going to find a cover slip.
Vincent has suggested that we need some sort of montage to get everything done in a short amount of time. Watch this space. Martin and I have been talking about how we can get the same amount of information out there, especially on building one of these microscopes for yourself, in as interesting a way as possible, instead of 2 hours of watching me slowly assemble everything in silence.
I think I've got too much on there, so I'm gonna just dab it slightly. I hope that's not gonna, but yeah. So yes, if you watch the video that I did with Cam, it takes Cam I think 15 minutes to build a I'm a little bit worried about this, but anyway, to build a bioreactor, and it took 1 hour and 10 minutes for me to live stream it with various other bits. I don't think even you can do one of these in 15 minutes, right, Joe?
I don't think our printer would let me.
Right, so now I've got this, which is, I'm wondering what. So I'm cheating here and I'm manually moving around until I find something that. That's something. Hey, right, okay, now I'm going to stop cheating and I'm going to double click there, because one of the cool things. So can you explain for people like me who don't know what OpenFlexure means, what it actually means?
Yeah, it's a open source 3D printed and accessible microscope. And
But Flexure?
Specifically, the name Open comes from the fact that everything's open source, and Flexure is from the design of the hinges. So rather than trying to copy a metal microscope's design, which relies on parts that are very well machined, instead we use the fact that the printed plastic is flexible. So
Right.
as this stage is moving around with the sample, there's parts of the plastic that are physically bending in a really repeatable way to let you move your sample in X, Y, and Z.
Cool. So it's currently moving by itself in Z because I pressed the A on my keyboard. So what you're seeing here is it's just a web interface, just the same as a bioreactor actually. So you get into it with microscope.local. And I think, do you have to do the port :5000?
Yeah, colon 5000, or just use the software which takes care of all of that for you.
Unless you're using a Mac like me, in which case you've got to build the software yourself, which seemed like too much let work. So anyway, I'm using the web interface. And what have we got here? This is definitely algae, right? Do we have any? Oh, we've got lots of comments. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, Savannah's suggesting maybe a change in OpenFlexure to pop the vial directly on the microscope. And Bioreactor, I think that's Cam, is saying only if you want to measure cell counts in another unit, like OD600, you can perform a calibration. Be default, it's arbitrary units.
So okay. Savannah's question about the calibration for the cell.
Sorry. I've skipped one. Yes. Okay. Right. Is there any calibration needed for the cell culture count? Ah, that's what the answer was. Okay, I was thinking that was popping the vial directly onto the microscope. Okay, but right, do we have any microbiologists in the internet who are watching at the moment? And would you like to tell us what you think we're seeing? Because I don't think that's spirulina. Because to me that doesn't look like a spiral. What do you think, Joe?
I am definitely going to defer to your wisdom here, but I don't see a spiral in the structure now.
So it definitely looks like algae, and or cyanobacteria, to me. But I'm not. And you can see that it's segmented, but spirulina, I think, well, it forms a spiral basically, which that is not doing. But anyway, that's probably not the only thing we've got in here. Is there a clever way to look through the slides rather than the way I was doing it by basically yanking the slide around?
You can use the motor as well to move the stage around. That'll be a bit slower, but if you wanted to maybe start a few moves in X and Y while we address what Svan has said about a change in the OpenFlexure design.
So, there we go. I'm going to... oh, that wasn't as far as I thought it was.
You can probably push it further than that, yeah.
Yeah.
So the suggestion about changing the OpenFlexure design, if that's something that would help this sort of application, then absolutely. The good news is, like we say, this is all open source, so anyone's welcome to download not just the designs, but hopefully some really helpful instructions to make that change. We've got a online forum where people share their designs and suggestions and things like that. And if at the end of this, Martin and other people's responses are that's something that could really help the project, then that's definitely something we can look into supporting. And just as I say that, I see something gliding over the top of the sample.
Is there... well, here's a suggestion, unless you can already do this. Is there a way to stop it while it's doing one of these moves?
Do you remember when we told you that this was a beta version?
Right.
The released version will let you interrupt moves like that, yeah.
Yay, that's cool. In the meantime, I know it's somewhere between 40,000 and 20,000, so I'm trying 30,000. I don't think it's 30,000. Shall I try 20,000? I think 20,000 is going to be too far. There it is. So... 28,000 maybe?
And then as soon as you're close enough that it's somewhere on the screen, you can just double click to move to it.
Aha, cool. Right. And there we... oh, it's a longer one. Right, I'm going to put that back full view. Except we could do with a bit of focus, I think. So I'm pressing A for the autofocus. That looks like the same but longer, and it seems to have less green stuff inside, but I'm still not seeing any spirals there. Yeah, interesting. Oh, we've got an Amy Bow. I think your Pyreactor's external LEDs are off. Oh, I see the specs LED turn on, but not the externals. Oh, something check after the live. Okay, right. So it may well have been that it's been sat in the dark. I'm gonna move this pirate. Oh no, because you can't see that at the same time, can you? Oh, we'll do this anyway. Right. So we all want to look here at these two ports. In fact, usually I can see a little flash. Could it be, Cam, that we're... is that... hang on. That thing's just segmented. Cool.
And again.
And again. So that to me seems like whatever I don't know how spirulina grow, but that thing seems like this is kind of multiplying. Because I would expect each of those to now elongate somewhat. How cool is that? Wow. But Cam, yeah, I'm wondering if on the LEDs, could it be that we're currently in a dark cycle? In which case they wouldn't be turning on. We'll wait to see Cam's response. I'm tempted not to move away because this is so exciting. I want to see another one split up. It might be that they're multiplying. It might just be that they're dying, I guess, as well. But they don't look ruptured. That looks like 3 intact units with nice rounded ends now. Cool. Should we try another shift or leave it there?
I think first, if you go across to the capture tab.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. Right, the capture tab. Capture is. Why am I not seeing it? There we go. It's below navigate, isn't it? Capture.
Yeah.
Right. Now there's loads of capture options I've noticed. Which would you recommend?
I'd say that this is nice enough that we want a full resolution image towards the top.
Okay. Full resolution. Yeah.
And then if you open out the stack and scan,
Mm-hmm.
then rather than just taking a single image in the scan capture option, we can do a Z stack through this instead. So if you set X steps and Y steps to 1.
Okay. So that means it's not going to move left and right and up and down.
That's it. And then let's set that to, let's say, 9.
9 Z steps. So it's going to be
And
9
Z step size, let's say 100.
100. Okay.
Okay, all the other settings look good. If you scroll down to the bottom,
Start scan.
that's it.
Okay. So I'll let you describe it. What's it doing at the moment?
It's sweeping through to find the focus again, and then it's going to do a stack in Z so that you get a few different focal planes. We use those a lot when we're running blood scans and things like that, just to check that our focus has worked, and if there's any areas that are higher or lower, we're getting those in focus as well.
Cool. And it looks as it's doing that maybe there is something there that's rupturing actually and spilling out. Has it finished now?
Yeah, that's done.
So how do we see those?
Into gallery.
Gallery.
And then open up those most recent ones. So the top left.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you click on any of them, you can use your arrow keys to scroll through the different heights.
So there only is one, isn't there? Or what do I? So I click. Oh, so I click on any of them.
The images.
Right. Okay. So that one's a bit blurry.
Left and right to scroll through.
Oh wait there, left and right, not left and right arrow key. Yes, left and right arrow keys. Left and right arrow keys are also shifting. I can hear it shifting the stage.
It's in beta.
Okay.
I will keep shouting this at you as many times as I need.
So yes, this is a good point. I should be using version 6, but I like shiny new things, so I'm going for version 7.
We're looking forward to hopefully releasing version 7 in the next few months. At the moment, we're going through the small bugs like, say, moving the stage and the images at the same time when you hit left on the keyboard.
Yeah. That's cool. So I'm not actually seeing the image that we saw before. I don't think. Or maybe I'm seeing, you can't see my cursor, but I'm seeing the sort of the stuff that seems to be coming out, which makes me think that perhaps it's lysing or something. very cool. Anyway,
Yeah, we can go back to the live view and see if any more damage has happened while we've been away.
Right. So view. Yeah, damage has happened because I've lost it, haven't I? Right. Let's. Can we remember what was it that I was on? Was it 28,000?
About 28.
28,000. And also, right, so when I came into the lab the last time, I wanted to see this stuff live for the first time as everyone else saw it. I'm going to do an autofocus, I think. So I turned away while you had a look at the sample that I brought in. Does this look like the same sample that I brought in? Except that focus is awful.
Yeah, I'd say the focus is going to struggle more and more as it splits up more and more and there's less to see. But yeah, with your manual focusing, you're bringing it back a bit. What you brought to our lab, I'd say, definitely had the more clearer green infill.
Right.
You're trying to describe to me whether something was more of a spiral or a helix was maybe a bit lost on me.
But did it look like this? It's not. I mean, let's say the slides that I showed earlier, we got a very clear spiral, as in it was a big, corkscrew structure, whereas this looks like a tube.
It was a lot more of a corkscrew structure than this was.
Yeah, right. Okay. So, right, shall we do one more quick look through? Shall I do a Y? Right, I'm seeing at the moment that I could be moving in this direction in this. So, how do I do? This is how I do it. I go there. Right. So I've got plenty cover slip that way. How do I scan in that direction?
Oh, I see. So that would be moving both axes at once in the positive direction.
Ah, right. Okay, so what is X this one and Y is that one?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, okay. In fact, it does say, yeah, there's a big X there. There's a big Y there. Okay, so, right.
You won't believe what's on the other motor.
Nothing.
Yeah, we've hidden it. It's
Cool.
underneath the motor.
Ah, right, okay. Why is that?
I think it's just it's used more to tell people where to place the motors when they're building it rather than when they're using it. I think at this point we'd expect that people know which one of these is Z.
Yeah. So do I want to go like minus 50,000 on each?
I'd say try moving to 0, 0, and that'll give us a few seconds to chat. Savannah suggested auto search in the software. It's again really something that we can do is automatically scan around, building up a whole map of whatever sample it is that you're interested in. Auto searching around and then detecting something that looks interesting and staying there is something that the community is adding for us while we work on version 7. There's a hematologist based over in the United States who's developing something quite similar to this, scanning around, picking up areas that he thinks might be interesting and automatically detecting features from it. So short answer, yes, definitely something that we're looking to add. And it's nice seeing new potential applications for it like here.
I think that's something different. Oh, is that more spirally? Not very green, anyway. So maybe that's an unhappy spirulina. Anyway, I think we should. Right, we've got to half past, so we should probably leave it there for now. Let me see what we've got. Right, so yeah, I said I'd get back to the competition, and the concept was that you invite a friend to quote you in the live stream chat. We've got a choice of 3 physical prizes and an online experience. The winner gets to pick a prize for themselves and a prize for the friend who posts the most interesting quote. So option 1 is an Adafruit spectrometer, just like mine, with the correct cable length, so you can hook it up to your bioreactor. Option 2 is a bag of bits of approximately equal value that will help you if you'd like to build an OpenFlexure microscope. And option 3 is a Raspberry Pi Zero 2W, which you can do all sorts of different things with. Then option 4 is an hour's free consultation with me, so we could discuss Amy Bow and Open Protein and I, the online conferencing platform, and how we produce these videos, or even my specialist subject of water treatment process engineering. So yeah, Joe, which of those would you go for?
Well, I think I've probably got enough bags of bits to build enough OpenFlexure microscopes for maybe the rest of my life. These are just, they sort of appear at my flat at this point, and I don't know how. I've enjoyed chatting to you. An hour of your time maybe comes in just behind the Raspberry Pi, I'm afraid.
Cool. Okay, right, we'll get rid of him. And yeah, if those 4 prizes aren't enough, we also have a stretch goal. So yeah, instead of the old intro video, I'd really like to be able to feature a trailer to each week's live stream on our front page. But we can only live stream trailers if we can only do live stream trailers if we have more than 1,000 YouTube subscribers. So the person who posts the best live stream comment between now and the time we hit 1,001 subscribers will win their choice of a bioreactor, the whole thing, or an OpenFlexure microscope, the whole thing. And yeah, with the OpenFlexure, you can decide whether you want it to be ready built or you want to build it yourself. And why are we doing this? Yeah, why does growing open protein community matter so much to me? Well, we want to develop open source methods for anyone to ferment tasty, nutritious protein, ideally from nothing more than sunlight and air. So the intro video goes into a lot more detail on why, and the intention is then that I'll be back here at the same time, 8 PM UTC next week. So please bring some friends, get them to quote you, and other questions that have come through. A link to that work, both the big image creation and the auto labeling. Yeah, Joe, have you got a link that you could pop in the chat for that?
Way ahead of you. It's already in there.
Is it? Why can I not see it?
I might have been filtered out for sharing links in your chat. I don't know.
I think we probably need a certain number of subscribers before we're allowed to put links in or something. I don't know. Right. We'll get that to you somehow. Yeah, if you go to the Amy Bow forum by tomorrow, it'll be there. So that's forum.amybow.com. Unless Joe's able to find another way to get it to you before then. So yeah, please, if you're interested, subscribe and ring the bell so that you can join us live. And indeed, let me know if 8 PM UTC on Wednesdays doesn't work for you. But for now, I'd like to thank Joe. Thank you very much, Joe. That was brilliant. Thanks for joining us this evening, and thank you all for watching. Together, I'd like to think we can make open source protein the world's favourite food. Catch you in the next one. Bye. I still haven't worked out when I need to stop.
This is like the after credits scene.